Hello everyone. Good morning. Hope you are all able to hear me well. Good morning, Samir. Good morning, Shweta. Prajakti, it's good to know that you have resolved that issue. It's nice. Good morning, Sagar, Love, Chandu, Gautam, Kalpana, Jayashri, Hasini. Very good morning, friends, and good evening to others who are joining from other locations. So there were a couple of questions what I got over email. One was sent from Samir and other one from Kanya, I believe. The other email what I got was from Kanya Godipati. Okay, so Samir and Kanya have received your email. I was just checking that sometime before. So maybe we will try to address it during our logical break at 8 today. So I'll take it one by one in the order in which I have received it. First I have got your email, Samir. So maybe I'll address that. Next I got the Kanya's email. So I'll address it in that order, what I have received. Is that fine? Hope that is fine for you. Okay. Sure, friends. So, was just waiting for others, like almost like 16 of them are there for today. So 4 of them I'm not sure if we can't wait anymore. Okay, so till yesterday, friends, we were seeing about this particular things, what is a data extract and how it is working and how things are. So we just saw that. So did you all try the module 1 assignment, friends? How many of you tried it? And how many of you are still yet to do that? Okay. Okay, Gautam has completed that. That's nice. So you have verified your answers. Okay. Sure, friends. Those who haven't started it, okay, that's great. Like many of you have completed it already. And there is a solution also for you. You can just check that the other side. So there is a solution which is available for those things. You can check the assignment solution also and verify your answers. Okay, for Sagar the color configuration did not work. Okay. So for that, slightly you need to make a change there, Sagar. I'll let you know that. So yeah, we'll try to see that as well. Okay. Okay, friends. So quickly to move on with. So we saw yesterday about managing the extracts and what are the metadata. So today we will see more about visual analytics. What is visual analytics and how to make use of visual analytics in Tableau. We are going to see about that. Though we had some introduction to this visual analytics, here we will be seeing it in detail. Okay. So what do you think is visual analytics, friends? So visual analytics is nothing but an interactive display of items. So graphical display, wherein in terms of charts, you are taking out the things. It is generally used to get out some analysis. You get out some analytic results. Basically, the main purpose of visual analytics is to analyze certain things visually in terms of graphs or in terms of some charts and things. So The main purpose is to analyze that normal data in terms of visually analyzing the same. So that we generally call it as visual analytics. So it is nothing but it's going to use graphical display, which would be interactive and which will generate analytical results. That we call them as visual analytics. So maybe you can take any of the reports what you are doing it in Excel. Excel wherein you are generating some graphs and you are generating some data reports out of that. So that one also you can call it as a visual analytics. So visual analytics can be that aspect. So it's not restricted to that. So where and all visual analytics. So what is going to be the advantage of a visual analytics for you? So when you are representing some information in the form of a graphs or things, what do you think are going to be the advantage of that? What do you think is it's going to give us? So why do we need a visual analytics? Can anyone tell me why do we need a visual analytics? Okay, that's great, friends. So it is easy to grasp the information and easy to interpret the data, and we can do better forecasting, and you can understand the data better. So to make a quicker decisions, you can make use of that. So in order for the business to make a quicker decision, you can do that, visual analytics. But right, that's right, friends. So these are some of the points what we have. So basically, if you see, they just categorize it in a form of a better decision making. That's right. So better sense of risk. So in terms of when risk professionals and others are using visual analytics, you will be able to know like where exactly the things are moving wrong and how it is not working well. So these kind of things you can predict that in future, and it will really help you out in making a better sense of the risk what you are applying. So that is one. And so whenever you are doing certain things, and you will be able to get some insights out of the data. So insights here is some meaningful information, what we can call them as insights. So you have a database, assume like you have around 1 million records in that. So this 1 million records, when we are representing it in form of rows and columns, will it make any sense for us, friends? You remember we saw an example in the first PPT what I showed you, which had the numbers represented as 9. I asked you to find out the number of 9 which is there, count the number of 9. So when we had it like that, so how we were able to manage those steps. So it was really difficult for us to interpret the results, right? So when that results are better, so when you are able to represent the data better, you are able to take better decisions, you are able to handle the risk better, and you can make better customer relationships, and based on which what you will be taking, you will take better key decisions would be taken. So that is going to be the main thing here. Key strategic initiatives you can take it, which will finally end up in better financial performance. So which is like there are various factors which will lead to a financial performance. You got me, friends? Any questions here? Any of these points you didn't understand? Please let me know. Okay, where and all visual analytics is used. So where and all visual analytics is used, friends, it is not with respect to any industry. Visual analytics is used almost in all industries here. So information analytics. So what we do with the data and coming out with those modeling and those techniques, what we will be doing, that we call them as information analytics, building out the models and the statistical analytics and those stuff, what we will be doing, that we call them as information analytics. Geospatial analytics. So this is like what we do it in terms of this Google Maps. So whenever you are searching for some particular locations and the shortest route for going to that particular source and destination, the map is suggesting you what is the kilometers and what are the things that, and moreover in a particular place what are the important spots that is available, representing them graphically, representing the petrol bunks or one particular space is there. So that part we can use it. Or scientific analysis for doing the research. So after research is done, to represent the data. So unless until you are doing that without visual analytics, you cannot do anything there. So those things there. And knowledge discovery, whenever you wanted to find out more information, do some additional research and things, that point of time. And data management and knowledge representation, it's also something closely related with one another. So whenever you are doing a presentations or PPTs, you need visual PPTs are more effective rather than a normal thing. So it doesn't have any industry specifically, friends. It is used across all industries. So it may be for cognitive or perpetual sciences, or it may be in a chemistry where you will be showing the interaction between the various items, the atoms, the bonds between that, to represent that. So visual analytics scope doesn't just end up within Tableau alone. So the scope of visual analytics is everywhere. So we do not know, like whatever may be the industry, you might be using that. So now we will see answer for this question, friends. Okay. So you all keep Tableau ready, and I want an answer for this one. I need an analysis of a report on our sales over the 3 years. So here, friends, I want you all to take up this. Let's choose sum of sales and order date. So, and you all create a graph. That's what I wanted you all to do. So please open your respective Tableau versions, friends, and let's get connected. So what is the business question you are going to answer it here? I need an analysis report on our sales over the last 3 years. So take sample superstore data, friends, okay, and plot me a visual graph which shows our sales for last 3 years. Let me know, friends, once you are done. I'll give you 3 minutes time. Okay, Samir is done. That's nice, friends. How about others? Okay, that's fine, Hasini. Not a problem. So I believe others are done. Lopita, Shweta, Kalpana. Okay, that's fine. Okay, friends. So here we are taking orders table. I'm dropping the orders table over here, and after you establish a connection here, friends, what you will be doing? We need a sales for last 3 years, right? So what are the dimensions that is required for taking this? What dimensions you all have taken, friends? Okay, sales and order date. Okay, that's right. Okay, year and order date. Okay. So something interesting happens here. That's why I asked you to do that. Okay. So when we are dragging and dropping a date dimension there, can you see I'm dropping my order date here? You must have observed it when you are doing. When you are dropping your date dimension there, automatically the date value is getting converted as order date, year of order date, and it is getting converted to a hierarchy there. So Tableau is basically able to identify, drill down comes there by default. So Tableau is able to identify that, okay, so this is going to be a date field. So yesterday we were talking about something called hierarchies when we had to create. So we didn't create any hierarchies, but however, by default for any of the date fields, whenever we are taking, Tableau understands that, okay, this is going to be a hierarchical field, and this is how I need to represent that hierarchy. So immediately Tableau is displaying that in terms of year of order date. So this happens for all the date dimensions. So whenever you are dragging and dropping your date dimension here, Tableau can identify that this is going to be a date dimension here, and this is what it is, and it can represent the data in a form of a hierarchy. Okay, so I'm just taking the sales here, sum of sales. So I'm just going to, there are two ways to do that, friends. One would be like manually choosing that, and this is how it can appear. So you can just control click this order date and control click on this sum of sales. After you click on that, you have a graph there. So generally if you go by the recommendation, Tableau recommends line graphs for that by default. Tableau recommends you the line graph there. So a line graph, what is that? Year over year sales. 2011, what was my sales? 2012, 2013 and 2014. So I'm seeing an increasing trend in my sales. So what is the trend of my sales here, friends? It's an increasing order. It's basically moving up as I move on and on with the years time. It has started low. In 2012 it was down, and then the business started to pick up, and we are here now. So that is something really good for the business. We are that making good business there. Okay, so everyone got this graph, friends? Everyone? Okay. Yes, Love, please. Okay. What do we see? Not create a hierarchy and we have to make it by our own. Yeah. So as always friends, it is not mandatory that you need to have a hierarchy made there. So whenever you are taking this particular date value and representing that here, you can have it represented without a hierarchy also. So instead of that, what you can do is you can basically convert. There is something called discrete and continuous, what I will be talking to you in some time. So here for any of the date dimensions, by default a hierarchy would be created. So specifically when you do not want that hierarchy to come over, what you can do is you can just right click this dimension. Okay, you can just right click this dimension. So there are two ways to drag and drop. One is the left click drag and drop, and the other one would be the right click drag this and drop it here. Can you see here what is happening? So if you're using a laptop or a mouse, so when you are doing a left click and dragging this and dropping it here, you will get a hierarchy by default. When you are doing a right click of your mouse and dragging this and dropping it over in the column shelf, you will be getting something different, friends. And you see here order date is continuous and discrete and what you wanted. I'm saying like I wanted to have year of order date alone, or quarter of order date, or month of order date, something like that. So in that case, still hierarchy comes. Okay, so in that case, still the hierarchy comes over. So what you can do the other way is, one minute. Okay, so you can just basically select any one of this. If you're selecting any one of this, you will be getting a hierarchy. What we can either do is we can just select it. If it is going to be a continuous field, we can just make it in that. I'll tell you what is this discrete and continuous is. However, the only alternate way to not get this hierarchy is basically, so maybe get something like this. Can you see this? What has happened? It has basically taken my order date and it is just like summarizing ATTR. I'll talk what this ATTR is about. This is nothing but it is just going to represent the order date as one single value, as a summarized value of everything put together. So here we cannot actually stop a particular order date or thing to be stop generating a hierarchy. The other possible way to stop it is to change its data type. So you can just change this data type of this particular date as a string data type. Okay, so I'm just changing this order date as a string data type, friends. Or you can perform some calculations or things on top. So in most of the scenarios, I can just drag in and drop it. After changing my data type, everything will be represented as a normal dates only. So that point of time, your hierarchy will not get generated and you will not be able to take anything. So how to change the data type? You can just right click here, go to change data type. Change data type and you can just change it to string. If you want to change it back again, you can just change it back to date again. Automatically now the hierarchy comes over. Hope your question is answered, Lars. So in general scenarios, we generally do not change it, but if you have some special requirements that you want this to be changed, that point of time you can make use of this. Okay, so coming to the next question, we have question from, Okay, so what if you want to create hierarchy manually? If you want to create a hierarchy manually, lab here there are two things. So you can create a hierarchy based on the columns what we have. So for example, based on dimensions you have, you can create a hierarchy like from order date. When you are dragging and dropping the order date, you want order ID before down towards that. So now a hierarchy would be created, order date, order ID would be created. However, you cannot create a hierarchy within a dimension as it is shown there. So for example, whenever you wanted an order date to be created and you would like to customize that order date, I believe that was your question, right? So you would like to see something in a different way, like year and quarter, year, quarter, and month. Instead of this, you would like to see year and month alone and don't want quarter. Something like that. Is that what your question is, Love? Wherein you need to customize your own hierarchies? Okay. So in that case, you cannot create something. So you can do something as I did now. So you open the hierarchy, you just see like I wanted this alone. So you remove the remaining items. So year and day order alone would be coming. So for now you can just see year and day order alone in your hierarchy. But however, when you are just removing that particular value and trying to re-add that, it will automatically come. But in normal scenarios, you cannot customize it at the dimension level. You cannot do that. So as this is the default behavior of Tableau. So whenever date dimensions are available, it treats the date dimensions as hierarchies and it creates the hierarchy. So you cannot do any further customizations to that. So the only thing what you can do is create your own hierarchies as we discussed yesterday. So that is possible, but not something inside that. It is not possible. That is something default. Okay. Okay, friends. So can we swap the sales and years? Kalpana is asking. Yeah, definitely, Kalpana. We can swap the sales and years. So for example, you can just make use of the swap axis, swap rows and columns. So once you give that, you can swap the rows and the columns, what you can see that. But now by seeing this trend, it is looking like it is going towards the downward. So the sales is coming down. That's how it is looking. So the previous one was the appropriate view for that. Hope this is fine with you, Kalpana and Love. Okay. And next one, Kanya has a question. Can I add labels on the graphs? Okay. Please disregard my question. So you don't have that question anymore now? Okay. Okay. Fine. Okay, Kanya. Thank you. That's fine. Okay. Okay, friends. So this is what we have got now. So this is the report, and basically we will be taking these two items, and which will. It seems like our sales have shown a tremendous growth over the years, and it is looking at the upward trend. Okay. So now, before proceeding on with this data, friends, we will be going to see something called aggregations and disaggregation of the data. Okay, so before going there, like someone asked me when we were trying to create a first visualization, so why this is showing as sum of sales? Why this value is showing as sum of sales? I do not want to see the sum of sales here. In that case, what I can do? So the best possible way to show that is, friends, there is something called aggregations and disaggregations which can be done. So by default, what is happening? What is aggregations, friends? Can anyone tell me what is aggregation? assume I'm having some values from 1 to 21 like this. So Kanya is saying it is group by, and others, Lav is saying it's summary, summing up the data and summary, sum divided by number of rows by certain attributes, adding up the data with the same data. Okay. Okay. So Shweta has a issue there in her system. Let's just get it addressed. Okay, that's right, friends. So divided by the groups. So Shweta, just a moment. I'm just finishing this aggregation part and then coming to you. So here, this aggregations are something like, friends, what we have. So we have some data, as you rightly said. Aggregations are nothing but it is going to be a summarizing of the data. So Excel also does the aggregations. When you are selecting these many items, it is showing us something called sum 231, count as 21, like that. Excel also shows us the aggregation values, and it's showing us the average, count, and sum. These three things it is showing by default. So the sum of these is 231, average is going to be 11, and count is 21. That is going to be the summary statistics of this. So these aggregations are nothing but it's going to be a grouping of those items together and summing up and deriving out. It can be addition, it can be like sum, it can be like group by, or it can be like minimum, maximum. You know the aggregation operations, right? The min, max, sum, first, last. These are some of the aggregations what we can do it in a normal SQL terms. So this aggregation is very similar to that, friends. However, here you have further options to change it further. Can you see here? I just go to this measure and I'm just right clicking here and changing it from measure sum. There is something called average I can do, median, count distinct, minimum, maximum, percentile, standard deviation, variance, and other things. So instead of this, if I wanted to go by count of sales, I can just change it right now here by right clicking here, going to my measure and changing this particular value to the count there. So I have an option to change it. Similarly, you can change it in the dimension level also. For example, here, if you wanted to see something like in a dimension, so Lav asked the question, can I create my own hierarchy? That is not possible. However, what you can do is you can do something called custom things within that date. So what you want to display? I wanted to display the month and year, month/year, something like that. In that case, you can just see the month and year alone get displayed, January, February 2013, like that. So whenever you are adding a particular fill there, particular measure there, or a dimension there, you can right click that and you will be getting some options for doing certain things there. So these are some of the things what we do within aggregations, okay. And the same thing, whenever a value is consolidated and it is shown to you, that we call them as aggregation. So what are disaggregations? Disaggregations are nothing but whenever the values you did not have to sum. I'm just going to remove this option and I will be showing this to you again. Now you see what is happening. It is showing me the sales for month, every month basis. It is showing me the sales, and this is how my sales is looking on month. So this is not having any aggregated value. It is going to be individual values. Can you see here? When I scroll over here, it is showing me what is the sales numbers in the tooltip. Can you see that? It can basically show me what was my sales at these times. March 2011, this was my sales. And then slowly it went up and then and March 2011 this was like coming down, and then to April, like that for every month on month, friends, for month on month various days the sales are changing. So this is something like disaggregated data. So when we are doing an aggregated measures, you see what is happening. It is more concise and clear. It is basically summing up for Jan 2011, this much is my sales, and Feb for this is, and for March this is my sales. Like that, it's consolidating for everything, and it is showing you month over month level. So aggregations are something like kind of a group by what we will be applying, and disaggregations are something like which you do not apply anything. So when this will be useful? So basically this will be useful only when we are summarizing the data there. So we'll see first some introductions on that, and still after that, if you had some questions, please let me know. Okay. So data aggregation is something like information is gathered and expressed in a summarized form, generally used for statistical analysis. Example, clustering, clusters they are given. So in any statistical analysis, what we will be doing, friends, we will be making use of something called this aggregation. So aggregations are something like summarizing the data, and for that we will be using various functions that are available, and we will make use of those. Okay. So what is disaggregation? Disaggregation means to separate and aggregate mass into its component parts. So just the reverse of aggregation. That would be disaggregation. Any questions here, friends? Do we have any questions? Okay. So if you don't have any questions here, I'll just go to one more example for you. So for example, the sum of sales is there. So I'm taking my sum of sales, dropping it in my columns, and I'm taking my sum of profit and dropping it on my rows. Okay. So sum of sales we have taken and sum of profit we have taken, and we have just dropped it over here. So now when you see this, friends, why only one value is coming here? Why only one field I am able to see here in this? Okay, it is taking aggregations in both the columns. So what is the way to make it look like? So make it more meaningful, friends. How I can make it more meaningful? Yeah, you are right there. The data is aggregated. That's why this is looking like this. Now can I make it more granular? So more granular in the sense, can I make this data look more meaningful? How I can do? So you can tell me that I go to analysis tab and I remove aggregate measures. Automatically my data will be looking something like this, right? So this is for what product this is, or for what customer this is, or which city, or what sales and profit is this? I don't know that, right? So in order to make it more meaningful, I can add more dimensions to this, right? So after I am adding the dimension, now I will be getting my product names. So what it is doing here, friends, I'm just taking any one dimension, like region I'm taking, and automatically based on my region, it is, maybe I'm just dropping it in my colors shelf. So based on my region, it is creating 4 different parts: central, east, south and west, and it is coloring those separately. is saying in my south region, this is my profit and sales. East region, this was my profit and sales. West, this is my profit and sales. So now, as and when, now I'm going to add further things like in my south region, what is the category also I wanted to have. So category, maybe I wanted to have it in my detail. So now when I'm seeing on a category office supplies in south region, this is my profit and sales. Like that for individual items, it is doing that. But however, when I'm checking on aggregate measures again, now it is giving me an overall good picture. So now the data is aggregated. However, still when I'm adding more and more dimensions, this is making my view more granular. Granular in the sense, what is granular? It is nothing but as and when I'm adding more and more dimensions to the view, my data is getting spread out. You should be able to observe that now. See here I'm taking my region. Automatically my region is getting assigned to shapes here. So a region, for each and every region it is having a shape assigned. You will be able to see a legend here coming. And next is I take a segment and I double click on a segment and it is showing me the segments by color. So consumer, corporate and home office. So it has various segments and consumer segment is identified by blue, corporate is by orange and home office is by red. So when I add more and more dimensions to my view, the data is becoming more granular here. That is one more point to note. Correct. So though when we are making these kind of things, when we are adding more and more dimensions, it is giving me more meaningful information and it is splitting out the data in a granular fashion. So that's what it is doing. Okay. So Kanya is asking a question on a profit axis, the values. Okay, yeah, Kanya, I'll just come to a question once I'm done with Shweta. Sorry, Shweta, to make you wait for some time. So when I click down on, click on the down arrow in the year, I see options, year, month, etc. twice. Could you please let me know that? Okay, sure, Shweta, I can do that. Before that, I would like to see your screen and make you as a presenter. Okay, Shweta, I have passed you the presenter, right? I think you should be able to share your screen now and you can tell me. Yeah.
So
okay.
If you see my screen now, I just have to see this drop down and there's sections here, which is having year and then another year. So I'm just trying to understand what these two will do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So this part, what you wanted to know. Okay. So what is your question? So anything else do you have?
No, that's it.
Okay. I'm taking back the presenter, right?
Sure.
Okay. So Shweta's question is, when we are seeing this particular things over there, so why I'm getting two things there. One, it is like whenever I'm able to add a particular kind of, so I'm just removing this sum of sales. I'm just taking a new sheet. So for example, when we are having an order date and we are having sales measures, so sum of sales would be coming here. Okay, so when I'm having it, why we are seeing two dates there? One is the year, and again here also I'm saying this year, quarter, month. Okay, so what is exactly the difference between those two? Okay, so so I think it's time for us to see on what is continuous and what is discrete values. Okay, discrete values. So let me tell you, discrete is something like, for example, there are two things in Tableau, friends. One is just like continuous measures, and the other one is discrete values. So for any of the dimensions, when you see, the dimensions would be classified into either into a continuous or into a discrete values. Okay, so do someone know already what is continuous and what is discrete, friends? Okay, so okay, Samir is saying no, Kanya is saying discrete means showing the difference, continuous means difference we don't show in values, gender is discrete, age is continuous, discrete is dimensions and continuous is measures, continuous data can't be break down further, whereas discrete we can't be. Okay. Screen sharing got paused, I guess. Yeah, one. I'm sorry, friends. Yes. I think the screen sharing is paused. So this is the one. Oh, I'm sorry. I think it got paused. Okay. One moment. So if you see discrete and continuous here, friends. For example, discrete here, as per Tableau's terms, what we see over there, discrete is nothing but, both are like a mathematical fields here. So discrete is something which is like unbroken kind of thing there. Discrete means individuals separately separated by that, so you cannot basically separate the things which is discrete there. So for example, continuous means forming an unbroken whole, and discrete is something means individually separate and distinct. Okay. So what they are saying here is the values are discrete by default, and Tableau creates a column, row, header. So I'll give you an example, a better example. Okay. For example, I'm going for something like I can any values which can be represented as a decimal form, which can be broken down, or in a mathematical formula which can be represented in a decimal form. For example, can I say I have 2.5 laptops? Can I say that? I can represent only certain things in the form of a whole numbers, right? I cannot have certain things said like, so can I say I can have something in form of decimal places if I cannot represent certain values. For example, can I say I have 2.5 laptops? Can I say that? I won't be able to say that. So in certain scenarios wherein you will not be able to dissect that particular information further from that. So whenever you can represent certain data, so before this I will show you the metadata of this. So what is the data looking like here? For example, you have this order date, the shipment date, and those mode, these things you are having. Can you see here the sales, the quantities, and these things? So something which can be represented in a form of a decimal places and which can be subdivided. Can I have quantity of 2.5? Can I say I have 2.5 items with me? I can't represent that, whichever things I cannot represent that in terms of a decimal places, that we can call them as discrete values. So which we can represent in decimal places, we can call them as discrete values, or continuous values or something which would be unbroken chain of stuffs there. So unbroken chain here is, so for example I will tell you, so this 0k, 50k, this is there, right? This is my sum of sales. So for now, my sum of sales is in a discrete or continuous. This is currently continuous is checked for me. So continuous means what? You can basically control the axis as a single whole. So for example, you can just right click here and edit the axis here. Independently you can edit the axis. However, the same thing, I'm just going to change this value from discrete, from continuous, I'm going to change it as discrete. So after I'm changing the value to discrete, can you see what has happened? My total axis got changed totally, friends. This is like my axis values got changed totally. So this is like 121, 888, and these things are started to come for me. The axis itself got changed. When I'm making it as continuous, can you see? Now I'm able to see that numbers as a whole numbers there. So that is what is explained here when we are opening to this particular thing. In Tableau, fields can be either continuous or discrete. When you drag a field from measures area to columns or rows, values are continuous by default. And Tableau creates an axis. When you drag a field from dimensions area of the data frame, the values are discrete by default. Okay. So what it means, friends? So whatever dimensions what you are seeing, they cannot be split further. So they are having some values like, I cannot say like I can split this particular values and represent. Can I say I have 2.5 products? So can I say I lived in 3.5 cities? Like that I cannot split those values and see. I cannot derive out meaning after I am splitting those values. That would be considered as the discrete values, and continuous values are something which can be done there. So for example, I can represent that value in discount, I can represent as decimal. Profit I can represent. Quantity I cannot represent. So maybe this is the right field to get qualified as discrete field, quantity. So quantity I cannot represent as in a decimal format. In that case, we can take quantity as a discrete field. So you can just change the type of this quantity, right click here, and maybe you can either change it to dimension, or once you drag and drop the quantity over here, you can just change the value. So sum of quantity, you can basically right click here, you can convert it to discrete. So each and every item, if you would like to see by that level, you can just change it to discrete. So you got a fair idea on what would be a discrete and what would be a continuous, friends. So continuous are something which can be represented in a form of decimal places. Discrete are the fields which cannot be represented in decimal places. So which cannot be broken down further. Those things we call them as discrete. Which can be broken down, we call them as continuous. So all measures are continuous by default. So all measures, whenever you are saying, that's what they are saying. So all the measures are continuous by default. You got it, friends? Do you have any questions? See how the fields are getting assigned. If a field has values that are numbers that can be added, averaged, otherwise aggregated, Tableau assigns that field to measures. So whenever a field, what we have, which can be averaged, aggregated, and which can do mathematical operations in that, by default that field will be assigned as measures. In the measures area, that field will be coming there. So the fields which cannot be done there, that becomes the dimension. Okay. So this is what we have it here, friends. So I'll share you this link also, and so all continuous fields, the background color is green, and a discrete field, the background color is blue. That is also one more thing to note. So background color does not indicate dimensions versus measures, but it is to represent the difference. Okay, friends. So do you have, so Shweta, is your question clarified there? So that's why, so whenever this particular item, what you see over here, this is having two things there. So whenever I'm taking a sheet 2 there, whenever I'm adding a dimension there, I can switch between my dimensions here. For example, the first value, what you are seeing is discrete values. The first year, quarter and month belongs to discrete fields. The second part of this year, quarter, month, week number, this belongs to continuous fields. If I'm just changing it to continuous, can you see here? My axis is changed, my color is changed. So this is for that switch over, friends. So initially it might be confusing, but as and when you work on with this, you would get it clarified further. So the first checkbox what I made here for year 2015, that is a discrete one, so it is showing in blue by default. When I'm checking this option, it will change to continuous, and you will be able to see something like this. Okay. Okay, friends, I think we can go for a break for 5 minutes. In the meantime, I have some questions to be answered for Kanya, and I have one more for Samir. So maybe, friends, those who want break, you can please leave for 5 minutes. So until I'll be just addressing some few questions. Okay, so Kanya, you had a question that can I break down this particular values instead of this 0K, 100K, and this one into something very specific what I wanted. Okay, so here how the values are getting assigned for this axis is basically based on a range of values. So whatever values, it will be basically taking your minimum and a maximum value there. So there is something called fixed start and fixed end, what you can give. And here basically you can set up the access for each and everything there. So here this is basically going to take a range of values. So the range of values is going to be your start value and the end value. So by default, the start value and end value is taken, and that is getting represented in a form of a graph here. So once the start value and the end value is known, Tableau generates this particular axis automatically, which is appropriate for you. So it represents that data automatically to you. Okay. So there is something called edit axis, what you can do, and there is something called tick marks. So this tick marks are something like where you can specify the units what you wanted. So here, instead of mentioning every 100,000 units, as per your question, you wanted to make it for every so instead of 100,000, I'm making for every 10,000 units. I would like to see this graph for. So what I'm doing is, I'm just going to this tick mark section. I'm going to change the value and apply it. And after I change it, can you see here what is happening? The value is totally getting changed there. So 480K, 40K, 80K. So I'm getting the tick mark values for individual rows there, and you will be able to see that numbers independently. Okay, you got this? So this is how we can change that particular tick marks in specifically. So I hope this was the question what you had in email also, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Kanya. I think if you don't have any further questions, I'll move on to Samir. Okay. So Samir, if you are still online. Okay. Okay, Samir. So here, so I saw your email on that particular thing. So, Samir, this module, the main issue with this is this Tableau course, what we are using, this is going to have a common data source that we are going to use here. So, for example, this Teradata or a SQL or other things might not be there for everyone. We cannot install it because it comes with its own licensing cost and things. So that is the reason why we keep common as Excel or Access data source, whatever we will be using. So most of you will have Excel source, most of you will have Access sources also. Maybe if you are not having Access, it's okay. At least Excel should be there. So in order to make that rationality there for all the participants, that's the reason why Excel alone was chosen. So once you wanted to have a multiple data source, Samir, so once you wanted to connect to a different data warehousing systems, so I do not have something, so I have a SQL Server database wherein I can just show you a connection, or I can just show you a connection with some of the Teradata or things, but I may not be able to show you some data because I have certain confidential data within my system. So I may not be able to show you certain things there, but I can show you what is the procedure for connecting that and what are the things that is, yes, I can show you the connections very much, but not inside the data, I may not be able to connect to you. Okay, so here, Samir, if you wanted to connect to a Teradata system, assume. So I connect to my Teradata system, something like this. So for example, I'll be giving my username, first I'll be giving my server details here. So once I'm giving my server details here, I'll be entering my server name, the username and the password. This window is common for everything there. So there may be an various authentication modes difference. One might be a Teradata database, others might be an LDAP, others may be an integrated authentication, like that. So here you will be able to see various authentication modes here. The only thing what you need to know is your server name. So if you want to connect to your server there, you just go here, type in your server name there directly. So it may be whatever specific Teradata server details what you have, you enter it here with your username and a password. So after you are entering it, how it will look like, okay. So for that I have an thing there. So maybe let me try connecting to Google Sheets. and just show you how inside how it will look like. So for example, here let me go to my Google Sheets. I think that is allowed. So here I'll be entering my details here. Okay, so it is asking me my username and password. So as and when I go to this sheet, it will ask me connection details and these stuff. Okay, so can you see here? These are some of the data what I'm able to see that when I'm connecting to my Google Sheets there. Yes. So here the connections what I'm showing, this is going to be same for all the databases. So irrespective of whatever database you are using, you will be able to make it a similar connection there as well. For example, here I have various sheets which I have created something. So there is something called untitled form and opinion poll, stability of IT company, something I have a product. I just click here and click on connect. So as and when I connect, a connection is getting established, my drivers are getting installed, and my source connection is getting ready, and automatically I'm able to see that as a databases. So can you see here, it is showing me my sheet name here. So this would be very similar to an Excel sheet only. Only thing is, in a Teradata connection, what you will be having, in a SQL Server database connection, what you will have a search box like this. You just need to search a table name. For example, if I'm having a table name like something like this SHE, so I can just type in the search and then click on search. That sheet, that particular table will get listed here. So in your scenario, typical data warehouse, this is how it will look. So after you give the server name, the username, password, automatically the authentication connection will be made, and then you will be able to see the tables there. So the mode of connection is different only, and the mode of operations are same. Okay. Okay, the mode of connections are different. Yes, the way in which you are connecting, it will be almost the same window only. So this I connected to a Google Sheets, right? You will have a similar window when you are connecting to other systems also. For example, in a SQL Server, if I'm trying to connect, Microsoft SQL Server, I'm trying to connect it here. Can you see this is going to be my server name? Here I will be entering my username and my password. So as and when I clicked on sign in, it will automatically directly connect to my server there. So maybe I can directly connect to this server and I'll be able to see all the databases and stuff there. So the most of the databases have a similar mode of connections only, but inside after you log in, it will be a similar window only what we saw here. It will be a very similar window like this. Only thing is you will be able to be searched by, instead of sheets, it will be by database name. You can select the drop down will be available for a database. You can select the drop down and you will be able to see that particular table names or things like that. So that's how it looks, but the connection remains same for all the databases. No problem, Samir. So I'm happy to help you at any time. So you try, so if you are having any of the databases in your office, or if you have access to any of the databases in your system, you can try connecting to that database directly. And you let me know, after your connection is established, you let me know if you are facing any specific issues when connecting to your database. Okay, you have a lot of sample databases. Okay. So what we can do is, like, maybe if you are free this weekend, this Saturday, we can have a doubt clarifying session or something, wherein you can just open any of your databases, and if you can connect from your Tableau to that, we can just see how to work with that, and maybe I can just tell you. Yeah, you can let me know. You can let me know your results there. Yeah, thank you, Samir. Okay, so the exclamation mark in that symbol was there, Lopita. The reason is there was no join between these two tables, so this was incompatible. So it was not, Tableau was not able to establish any of the joins there because it is totally a data oriented file. And I was trying to join this with the existing sheet. So that's why this was not showing me anything. Thank you, Samir. Yeah. Okay, friends. So this is what we saw here. So you understood this aggregations and disaggregation and how it is happening. Okay. So aggregating a data is something like this. You can just uncheck this in order to disaggregate that. So now let's see what is granularity further. So what is granularity of a data? So to the level of depth in which we can go, we call them as granular. So when there is a high depth in transactions, which means like you will be able to see a detailed view of data and transaction, in that case you call them as high granularity. So when you zoom out into a summary level, we call them as low granularity. So whenever so here I showed you an example, friends. As and when you add more and more dimensions to the view, so as and when you add more and more dimensions to the view, the data is becoming more and more granular in nature. So here, when I was not adding more dimensions, see my data was at a summarized level. So as and when I added more and more dimensions, like country level or maybe at region level. So whenever I was just doing that at a country level or a region level, I was able to see like something, the data is becoming more and more granular in nature. So at a city level maybe I can take. So the data is becoming more and more granular in nature here. So this is what it is. And as and when you add more and more dimensions, the granularity decreases. The data becomes less granular. So that is one thing to note here, friends. So when you are adding more dimensions to the view, the data becomes less granular and it will become more detailed in nature. That is one point to take from here. So Tableau measures are automatically aggregated to the granularity of the view. So measure values would get adjusted automatically. Can you see here the sum value doesn't remain the same always. So after I add my region, my sum value is not remaining the same, right? Because here when I had it by this was my sum. When I remove my city, my sum value changes accordingly. So that's what they are saying. So as and when you add more and more items there, the aggregate measure values changes accordingly, according to the values what we are dropping over here. So that's what they mean here. So this is something for you to understand. So this marks card is something which will help us to make the data more granular in nature. Okay. So this marks card is going to help me out to make the data more granular in nature. Yes. I can repeat it out, friends. So this I'm just clearing off this sheet. Okay. So I have taken my sum of profit and my sum of sales. Sum of profit and I have taken my sum of sales. Here what we are doing, so this is aggregated at one level. So basically my sum of profit and sum of sales is a summarized level here. So my sum of profit and sales is this much. Now what I'm doing, I'm taking my category field. Okay. I'm taking my category and I wanted colors based on my category. So I'm taking my category field, dropping it on my color shelf. So as soon as I did that, can you see I have three categories. One is technology, one is office supplies, and the other one is furniture. And this graph has changed totally, and my sum of sales value has changed accordingly. Can you see that? For technology it is this much, for office supplies it is this much, and for furniture this is this much. So the colors, as and when I just added, my data is becoming more granular in nature. So more granular in nature is, this is what is, based on these categories I am getting three different views for my items, and as and when I am adding more and more items to this view. For example, there is something called detail shelf. So what this detail shelf is going to do? Detail shelf is nothing but, so what are items? If you just scroll, you can just drag any of the dimensions or measures inside the detail shelf. This detail shelf, what it is going to do, it is going to give us the data in more detailed fashion. Okay. For example, I would like to see what are all my products that are there here. So I'm taking my product name, dropping it in my detail shelf. Now you see what has happened? My entire view has changed now. It is having by individual product name. So this product belongs to technology, and this is coming in red color, and this product belongs to office supplies, and this is coming in orange, and this product belongs to furniture, which is coming in blue color. So here, as and when I add more and more dimensions to these marks card, my data is becoming more granular in nature. I'm able to see in depth. So what in depth I'm able to see, and as and when I add something to colors, I get a legend kind of symbol here. Can you see this? This kind of a color legend, what we call. You can basically highlight any one thing from here. For example, if you want furniture to be seen alone, you can just click on this furniture here. Those items will get highlighted. And similarly, if you just click on this office supplies would come. Technology items, once you click, technology would come. So as and when you click on those color shells, these items get highlighted by default. Okay. So is this clear now, friends? Lopita, is this clear for you? Okay. So this mark card is used for that purpose, friends. Okay. So Sagar had a question that he is not able to replicate the colors there. So I'll try to see if I can cover it as a part of this, or I'll take it separately. For the assignments, he was not able to get the colors pane there. Okay. So as and when you drag a particular measure value into that thing, you will be able to see that. So here what they have done is they just drag and drop a sales measure value. For example, the sales is there. So I can just take the sales and drop it on my label shelf. Can you see what is happening? Now I am able to see my sales numbers. So this is my sales numbers. Other than the tooltip, I'll be able to see some individual numbers which are appearing here for each and every sales there for my category. For every categorical sales, I'm able to get something like this. Okay, friends. So this is what we can do using the marks card. Huh? So hope you all got some fair idea on how to use that marks card and things. So we get a so this was the aggregated view. The granular view we will be getting as and when we add more and more dimensions and measures to this marks card. The view will become more granular. Okay. So now some questions for you to answer. Can you try answering this question? So I'll give you a clue. So whatever items that is mentioned here, keep important items in your columns and row shelves. And whatever the remaining things, that is in terms of dimensions and things, what is there, add those to your marks card. So in the marks card, since they are giving, you need to categorize according to different markets. So you make use of colors, you make use of shapes and other things also. So almost I have given you the answer. Now you need to try this visualization. This will really help you in understanding the concepts what we discussed sometime before. Can you all try this? Okay. I have taken sales, profit, subcategory and segments. Okay. So friends, there is no right or wrong answer in this, but the only thing what I want you all to do is to just do a try and just try this out. Maybe it is not mandatory that you should get the right answer the first time, because this is going to be the first visualizations you all will be creating. So how about others, friends? I just got very few response that this view is there. So how about my other friends who are there? Are you all working on this parallelly, or are you facing any issues? I just got response from Samir and Jayashree only. So Lab is working on it. Okay, great. Yeah, friends, please let me know if you need any help anywhere. Anyway, we'll be seeing how to do this. But before that, I want you all to just see. Okay, friends, please take your time. I'll give 2 more minutes. You can please do that, and you can confirm me, friends, once you are all done. How about you all, Lopita, others? You are all working on that? Okay, that's great. Okay. Shweta is saying, I'm not finding priorities. I'm having issues with the intended source file. Could not download the zip file. Salim is not able to download the source file. Not a problem, friends. So if you're having an issue with downloading the source files or things like that, you can use any of your Excel sheets and try replicating not the exact same columns also. You try replicating some other different columns, whatever you have. So whichever Excel file you can open, try it with that. If you are having issues in downloading these. Okay, yeah, Prajakti, that's fine. You can do it later. Those who are not in your system, you can do it later. Okay, so if priorities field is not found, Shweta, you can make use of any other fields. So even I'm not sure if I have all the fields what they have suggested there. Maybe I'm just going to make use of the fields what I'm having it in my data set. That's it. So it's not mandatory, friends. If you are not finding that field, make use of any other field. Here the intention is to make you work on the visualization and make you comfortable with this marks card and things. So that is the only intention. So it's fine absolutely if you are not able to view that also. Okay, friends. I think we will now see the example. I'll just show that to you. For others who are finding it difficult, it's fine. You can just see my screen now. Friends, I'm just opening a new sheet here called sheet 3. Okay. So in the sheet, I'm taking sample superstore. That would be my existing data source. I'll be taking the sample superstore Excel file there. Okay. So in the sample superstore Excel file, what is our question? First, let's understand the question. So I need an analysis on report on our profit over the shipping cost. So what is going to be my fields which will be coming in my column shelf and row shelf? I need to see my profit over my shipping cost. So what is the field that is required to appear in column shelves and the row shelf? Okay, profit in rows and yeah, anything you can take it from. So I'll take the profit, double click on my profit and double click on my sales. So profits in my rows and sum of sales in my this. Okay, this would be my first view. Next thing is make sure it is categorized according to different markets. Okay, do we have a markets field here? I'm not finding market. Okay, so it is categories based on different markets. Different markets as per their categories and priorities. Okay, so as per their different markets is not there. So instead of markets, I'm taking something called segments here. Okay, I don't have a markets field in my data. So what I'm doing, I'm taking it based on various segments. So segments, I'm just taking it, dropping it on my shapes here. Yeah, you can take anything, Jayashree. Yeah, that's fine. You can take region also. Okay. So segment, you can take it in shapes here. So as and when you click on this to the shapes, can you see, you can assign some shapes here, friends. For consumer, for corporate and for home office, you can basically have different shapes that is available, and there is a shapes panel also. So I'll take this shape, that is filled shapes. For consumer, I'll take this color. For corporate, I'll take this. And for home office, I'll take something like this. Okay. So I can just assign some shapes by default. So I'm just taking any of these three shapes and I'm going to click on apply here. So after I'm clicking on apply, my shapes comes. This would be a filled shape and this would be in this. Okay. These three things I'm getting it for now. Okay. And the next thing what I'm looking at, there are two more things what they have represented. That means that I need 3 dimensions to be taken. So one dimension I will be taking as category. So I'll take this category and drop this category on my colors shelf, friends. Now can you see, after I dropped it on my color shelf, I got 3 different colors. One is for the furniture, one is for office supplies, and the other one is for technology. Okay. Kanya is asking, how did you edit the shapes? Yeah, sure, Kanya, I can just show that to you. So see here, I just took this segment field, dropped it in the shapes. So I just clicked on the shape here. Can you see here, shape panel? I just clicked here and I got the shapes available here. And there is something called filled shapes which was available from this. I took those shapes from here. I clicked on this particular item, okay, and selected the shape what I wanted. So consumer I want this, corporate I want something like this, and home office I just chose this. So you need to click here on the item and then you need to click on the shape so that that particular shape is coming for you. Okay. Okay, friends. So this is how you can edit the shapes, what you can do. Okay. And the next thing what you need to do is, so you have one more thing, segment is there, the category is there, and I'll take one more thing called region. So I'll take this region and I would like to see this region. So based on the category and the segment they told, I would like to see it in, they also wanted to have it by the region, right? So what was the question? Let me go. So categories according to different markets as per their categories and priorities. Okay. So they wanted the categories and priorities to be added, the view. So we have taken these three steps. Okay. So based on various categories and priorities, so category they have taken, the market they have taken. So categories in colors and market in shapes, they have taken in their view. And order priority, they have taken it in colors. Okay. So I think then the categories they haven't considered. Okay. So that was a separate example. So they have taken order priority in colors, and based on that order priority, they have just taken the things over there. And one more thing here, friends, what I wanted to show you is on the sizing of this. So the size is very small, right? And every size of these items is on the same size almost, right? So what if I need to customize that size based on my sum of sales or based on my profit I want the, so if my item is giving me more profit, I want it to display it bigger. If my item is giving me less profit, I want to display it in a smaller shape. So what I can do for that? So you can take this profit measure. So what I can do for that, friend? Can anyone tell me before I do that? Okay. Drop it into shapes, sizes. Okay. Drag profit mark and drop it into the size. Okay. That's fine, friends. So I'm taking this profit. I'll take it, drop it into the size pane. And now as and when I did that, can you see it is showing me my various size ranges. So 3875 is one range, 20,000 is others, and like that. So this profit basically is appearing based on my size of this particular item, like furniture, the office supplies, the technology. The sizes are coming, and there are some very small shapes here. You might not be able to see that in my screen, but if I'm scrolling, you will be able to see. That is like these are the items which are having very less profit. So I would like to alter the size. So I click on the size mark, and then I can just extend it so that the shapes are looking even bigger, and I'm able to see something better appearance in terms. So whatever items which is having more profits, that are getting categorized according to these sizes and shapes. Okay, now I wanted my label also on profit. So I'm taking my profit and dragging it, dropping it on my label. And now I will be getting my profit labels also. You got it, friends? These marked shells are helping us to make the data more granular in nature and making us more comfortable with the data whatever we are seeing it over there. So that is where this mark shells is going to help us. Yeah, sure, Kanya. You have a question? Okay. Yeah, I can just show that. Yeah, this is my graph. So, Lopita, what is your issue? You are not able to see, get the right graph for your dimension? Okay, Kalpana is asking, can we use the show me pane? Yeah, definitely, Kalpana. You can use the show me pane to do that. For this particular graph, you can make use of the show me pane also. So we are actually using the one which is recommended by that one only, because I have taken the sum of sales and profit. It is suggesting me the scatter plots here. So I'm basically using that one only. So friends, if you are having doubts in creating this graph, would you like me to show this once again so that you can know what I'm doing? If you would like to have it once again checked, let me know. I can do that once again if you. Okay. So Lopita, your question is you can't get the right hand side part of dimensions. So what is this right hand side part of dimensions? Are you talking about this legends, the segment, category and sum of profits, these? Okay. Okay. I'll just show that. Yeah, they are called as legends there. So are they not coming for you by default? Okay. Okay. So these are something like this legends fields. As and when you drop a particular item in the category shelf for these things, you should be able to see these legends there by default. If you are not able to see those legends there, uh, let me see first what is what is there in your screen. Okay, so first let me make you as a presenter. Let me just see. No, it's not the case. Let me make first one by one, one of you as presenter first. So first let me make Lopita, I want to see your screen. Okay, Shantini is getting. Shantini, you are also using the Tableau public, right? Okay, 10.4 you are using. Okay, sure, Shantini. So Lopita, you are now the presenter. You can share me your screen and let me know. Lopita, if you can hear me, you are being made the presenter now. You can share your screen. I am able to see two of your IDs. If you are facing some issues, in the meantime, maybe I can just make. Okay, since I'm not getting a response from you, I'm assuming that you are not in front of your system. So Kanya, I'm making you as a presenter now. Let me know. I'm making you as a presenter, Kanya. Let me know here. You can just share your screen with me. and let me know what is the thing what you're facing there. Yeah, I'm able to see your screen. Can you go to Tableau? I'm not able to see your Tableau window yet. Okay, you are not able to see the legend. So, okay, can I have control of your screen, Kanya? I'm not able to see the Tableau window there, what you had opened. Can you go to the Tableau and I think I'm able to see your desktop screensaver alone for now. I'm not able to see anything else. I'm not sure, Kanya. I'm not able to see your screen there. The only thing what I can see is, yeah, sure, you can let me know after you try it from your end. Because I'm not able to see anything other than your default screen. What is this? Default picture. Okay, I'm taking back the presenter, right? So, Lopita, if you are there, I can make you as a presenter, or else I think, I assume that you can check that and let me know once you are done. Okay, how to copy one sheet's visualization to another sheet? So it's simple, friends. You just right click here on the Sheets tab and click on duplicate or cross tab. So click on duplicate, automatically a sheet gets copied there. So you'll be having two sheets with the same names there. So this would be sheet 3, this should be sheet 4. The same sheet will get. Okay. Okay, Lopita, like, yeah, as I'm not able to see your screen there, I'm not able to help you out on what exactly your issue is, why you're not getting that. Even I'm not able to see Kanya's screen as well. So maybe like you can try that out. So it is nothing but you just need to drop it on that rows. So as I did, the sheet, you just need to drop the categories and things. So as and when the legend should come by default, there is no case that it should not appear. So you can just drop it on the colors and automatically the colors comes by default. So I don't see any reason why it should not appear, but you can try that out and let me know. So if you are still facing, we can just catch it back. Okay, no problem. I'll show you, Shantini, how to copy the output. So it is nothing but this was, assume that I don't have this sheet, I'm removing this. Okay, so I just want to copy one sheet to another window. So I'm right clicking here on the sheet 3 tab. I'm clicking on duplicate. So as and when I do that, click on duplicate, automatically I get the sheet 3, here I get sheet 4. So this happens automatically, friends, okay. So this is how you can create a duplicate sheets from one sheet to another. Okay, so this is what we had, and the data granularity and sizing part. So, okay. Maybe one last thing I will be showing it for today's class. I believe this would be the coloring. And after that would be the questions, and I think we are we'll be seeing the highlighting features and other things which is there in this module in our next class. Okay. Okay. So there is something called text labels, friends. Okay. So I wanted to show this to you. This was your assignment also. So Sagar, I believe you were saying that you were not able to get the text labels there. So for example, I have this categories, friends. Okay. Okay. So I had this categories here. So in this categories, what you need to do is you just need to take this category. I want my category in my color. Okay. And I wanted my sales. Sum of sales, and I wanted my I don't want it as a text table only. Okay, so I wanted my sum of sales. I'm just adding it in my label, and I'll take it based on my city or something. One more field, I'll take it. I'll take my city, city field somewhere here. Okay, so this is what I'm getting, friends. So I have 8 cities. Okay. Sure, Shantini. So to save this file, currently you can just save this file as file save as, and you can click on the save as option, save it as PWBS. But for printing purpose, when you wanted to save certain things, wanted to save this output or maybe this particular thing, here you cannot do anything. So after you deploy this into the server, you have some various options such as rendering options are available. You can take the same sheet as a PDF or as a Word document or as an Excel file or as a Tableau workbook itself. So after you publish this in server, you can take it. So for now, you can just take a screenshot only, and maybe if you want to use it for now, you can just take a screenshot and take a print. But you cannot export it into a PDF or a Word document from here directly. Tableau doesn't give an example, but one option is there. There is something called worksheet and export. You can basically export this as image. So once you are exporting this as an image, you can just save that view. You can just save that image somewhere in your screen, and you will be able to open it. So you can for now save it as an image, but after you once this is getting saved as an image, this is how the image will look like. You can just see the same view what we got is saved as an image there. So you can print it from here for now, but generally we do it after deploying it in the server. We generally publish it and render it in different formats. Can we save it into Tableau Public? Yeah. So all your visualizations, what you are creating, friends, in Tableau Public, that will get saved in Tableau Public by default. So you need not worry about that. So your visualizations, your profiles and things, I will tell you, you need to create your profile first in Tableau Public, then you can publish it so that all your visualizations are available under you. Okay. Okay, Lopita got the right hand side part finally. Okay, that's nice. So did you retry the same thing once again? I think something went wrong previously when you had to do that. Maybe Kanya, you can just try the same thing again. Okay, now coming to our text highlighting part, friends. See here, I wanted these text to be highlighted based on my sum of profit. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm taking this profit and adding it in my text. Sorry, not in text. I'm taking the sum of profit and adding it in my color. Okay. So I'm having all these items that are available here. So I have, so I just added my sum of sales numbers in my text. Okay. So sum of profit alone I'm having, and colors and sum of profit I'll put it in text also. Okay. So after I do this, I'm just getting a blurred blurred colors here. So I'm just clicking on this edit colors and changing it to something like this, some other color. Let me change it. Okay. I'm just clicking on apply and OK here. So this is what it is doing is basically I can apply some colors here for the values whatever I'm getting here. So here I can make use of something called, can you see here, highlight table or text table, something that is available here. Okay. So now for now I'm just enabling a table level values alone, friends. So based on various cities, I'm taking various categories here and I'm going to color it here basically. So on what basis I need a color? So assume like I'll take it the colors based on my category itself. So for that what I will do, I'll take this category, drop it in my colors. Okay. Now can you see my values are getting highlighted in form of colors here. Okay. Now I'm wanting this to be not only colors based on the numbers, I want the colors to be appearing on all over the place there. So currently it is set as automatic. Okay. So I'm just going to change this mark type to text from automatic. So this particular shape, I'm just going to change it here, friends. You see what is happening when I'm changing each and every shape here. I'm just changing this to some text colors and these things. So as and when I'm trying to change it, this is what is the view what I'm getting. So here you have a similar example in your assignment, friends. So where you will be getting something called text labels like this. Can you see here? So they have taken sum of sales and discount based on the subcategory level. So we'll also try to take something very similar to that. So I'm just closing it for now. I'm taking the sales and profit, sum of sales, and I'm taking it by the subcategory level. So subcategory I'll take, and I'm going to change it in a table view here. I want it as a table data. Okay, so this is how I'm getting it here for now, friends. Okay, so once I'm changing the mark type to a text table, this is the view what I'll be getting. Okay, so now what I wanted to do was I would like to have my sum of profit and my colors there. So my sum of profit I wanted in color. So what I'm doing, I'm just taking the sum of profit and adding that in colors. Okay, so the one which is in a darker shade, which means it is having higher profit. One which is in the less darker shade, that means it is in a lesser profit. Now I go here and go to this option and change it as this particular option. So once I'm changing it, I'm just getting some colors like this for now. So till now you all will be getting the same. So this particular thing, sales, this measure names and this subcategory items is available here. Okay. So now what we will do is we need to make this something looking very similar to this particular colors there in this colors windows, for which I can make use of something called this one, this shapes there. So either this, if I'm choosing, it is not giving me the appropriate colors there. I want the colors to be based on my sum of profit. So yeah, let me choose some other color, maybe a red or something, red or green. So which highlights that particular values for me. Okay. So this measure values is available here, and color is going to be based on my sum of profit. Okay, now my color is based out on the sum of profit. I'm just changing this sum of profit value. I can try altering the marks. Generally it should work once we change it to a text label. the mark type, once we change it to text, it should work there. Let me try out, friends. Maybe this one I can just try this out and let you know, as it is going to be more time for you all. I don't want to waste most of your time there. So this is something like what we can see in our next class, friends. We will check this out on this particular part, on highlighting part, how to make something like this, text labels, how to get a very similar form like this. Okay, friends, so with this I'll stop. So this is like, you can just play around with this mark pane and you can just get these items there. So in order to get this, you need to make one more alteration to your colors. So so maybe, friends, if it is time for everyone else, you can just leave it for the day. Maybe I'll just see if I can, if someone has time alone, you can stay back. So I think I'm done for today's session, friends. So for others who it's getting really late, you can just make a move, friends. I don't want you to wait more. So I'll show it to you again in next class how to do this. Okay, friends. So we are done for today's session. So I get all the graphical display. How do you get it as a table view? Thank you, Love. Yeah, Shantini. So all the how to get it as a table view? For table view, Shantini, you just need to give it like this way only. You just need to select this option, text tables. You can just try this out. So for this, you just need to have one or more dimensions and you just need to have one measure at least. So we are having more than one measure. So as and when you click on this text table, automatically the data will be coming as a text table key. So you need not do anything there. Okay. Sure, Shantini, you can try this out. So friends, tomorrow, day after, we don't have a class. So like we'll continue again on Monday and we'll start from module 2, this continuation, and we'll proceed on from there on. Okay then, so we are done for today, friends, and thanks a lot for all your time and great questions. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Jayashree, Sagar. You all have a great weekend there. See you all. Thank you, Kalpana. Thank you, Lopita. No, friends, if you want a doubt clearing session or kind of things, we can schedule it for tomorrow or day after. You can mail the support at Edureka team and you can just ask them if you want a doubt clearing session, you can just mail them directly. They will inform me and schedule a class if required. Yeah, you can connect to some DBs and you can drop me a mail, Samir, and we can just get back to that. Okay, thank you, friends. See you all. You all take care. Thank you, Lopita. Thank you, friends. You all have a great weekend. Bye-bye. So for next week, and you can complete the module 1 assignment and also finish your module 2, start with your module 2 assignments also. So that would be the expectation for next week, so that once you are done with the assignments of module 1 and 2, you should be in a better position to understand things. I think you can then try it out. So that the expectation is that one only. So you can finish on the module 1 and 2 assignments and you can make things ready. Okay, thank you all. You all have a great weekend there. See you friends. Bye-bye.